Hi friends, welcome to Book Bytes and my name is Santosh. In this video, I am going to discuss about the book named The Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg. This is a book that will help everyone to develop habits, understand how habits work and actually tune into the mechanism given by the author in order to change the habits that you want to change. So this book is divided into three important parts: the habits of individuals, the habits of successful organizations, and the habits of societies. Coming to the habits of individuals, the author initially speaks about the habit loop and how the habits work. And here he mentions and opens the book with the story of Eugene Paulet, wherein he is a person who lost his medial temporal lobe in the brain. Now what happens is that he loses this problem, he gets this problem because of a viral infection in 1960, and he forgets everything that happens after 1960, and also he forgets everything that happens before 1960. Now what happens after that? His wife takes him to a walk every evening to make sure that he is refreshed and to make sure that he recovers quickly. Now one day, unfortunately, he misses out, he loses the route, and she was actually worried, his family was actually worried that whether Eugene will be able to come back or not. But surprisingly, Eugene comes back. It was because every day he was taken to a certain spot in the same waves, in the same route wherein he needs to do that walk, and he used to come back. So that has actually made an impression on his brain, and that has become his habit. And that was when, till that point of time, there were studies that said that there is a separate part of brain that takes care of habits, but it was not proved. But with the incident of Eugene, this theory got proved, and they started to discuss something known as the habit loop, which consists of a cue, a routine, and a reward. Now what is a cue? A cue is something that keeps a person or an individual into this action, this automatic action. And then what is a routine? A routine is the action that is performed. In the case of Eugene, he performed the action of going to a walk and coming back home. And the reward is something that we get. Probably if we are eating a sweet, we get that dopamine rush in the brain, and that gives us that feeling of eating a sweet. That is reward. So a habit loop basically consists of a cue, a routine, and a reward. Now, the author also speaks about how Claude Hopkins managed to make sure that he sold Pepsodent in many countries. Now what is this story about? Initially during World War I in 1940s, 1941, all these times, Americans were not brushing their teeth, because that was not a part of habit. Now what Claude Hopkins has done? He initiated a habit in the people's mind by simply telling that if you take out your tongue and run it over your teeth, you can find a thin, slim layer. And that layer is actually spoiling your beauty. If you want to make your teeth shine, go brush every day. And that will give you a reward, that is the tickling sensation that we get even today after we brush. And in this way, he managed to instill a habit of brushing in Americans. Now, this is how the author spoke about the habit loop, how habits work. So habits work by having a habit loop, which is a cue, a routine, and a reward. Now let us see the second part in the first part, 1.2. So as I spoke already, the craving brain, how new habits are created. Claude Hopkins actually made Americans brush their teeth every day, and then the author also compares and contrasts the same theory with the help of Febreze, a product So a product by P&G. So what initially it is a kind of a room freshener. So initially what happened was that it has been advertised as a product that can clean the rooms after they have actually cleaned. For example, if I am taking this microphone, once I have cleaned this and once I am spraying this particular room freshener or a spray, that is going to clean this more. Now just think about this. I have already cleaned this. Why will I go back again and clean it? No, right? So initially when they tried that technique with Febreze, it didn't work. And then what they started to do is that actually they remarketed it in the form of a room freshener. And that actually helped them get more sales, because there was a cue that if you're going to spray this, there is going to be a fragrance coming in your room. And then there was a routine. After you clean the house, you have to spray this so that it gives a good fragrance. And then the reward, the fragrance itself. And that was how a habit has been instilled. And then let us go to the third important thing. So until now I was just speaking about how habits are instilled. Now this is a point where the author actually spoke about the golden rule to habit change. How are habits actually being changed? Why transformation occurs? How to change habit 1 to habit 2? This is what is seen in this part. So he says that to change a habit, have the same cue, have the same reward, but change the routine. And to show that, he takes the example of Tony Dungy, an American football coach. What he has done, he's simply taken his team. Instead of asking them to make complex plans, he gave a game plan. And he asked them to do this 1,000 times before you go to the game. And then that team actually won. And if you are reading this book, you'll also find the name of the team in that book. And what this coach, Tony Dungy, has actually done, he made sure that they are getting the same reward, that is winning the match. They had the same cue, that is doing something. But he changed the routine. He created the automaticity in the routine, and he made sure that they won. And they got the cue, the routine, and the reward. So the magical transformation of changing a habit is by keeping the cue same, the reward same, and changing the routine. And this technique is also being used by one of these famous rehabilitation centers called as Alcoholics Anonymous. So what do? They have a 12-step successful program of habit change for drug addicts. They keep the cue, they keep the reward, and they change the routine. They make sure that why people are going to drugs. They make sure to learn and observe how people are able to change this routine. Why do people do cigarette? Why do people do drug? If they don't want to do that, how can they change it? How can they see that routine is changed and the cue and the reward are kept constant? Maybe someone wants to go for a good relationship. Maybe someone wants to watch a movie in order to get rid of that. So they have to change the routine, and they have a 12-step program that is designed on the basis of this habit loop, and they are using it. And then the author spoke about one of the most important element, an additional element, which is belief. I also remember reading the importance of belief being mentioned by Napoleon Hill in the book Think and Grow Rich. I'll also be doing a book bite of that book, Think and Grow Rich, on this channel. If you want that book bite, please comment in the comment box. So I'll also be doing that. So here the author also spoke about another element, which is belief. And this was a part of the habits of individuals, the habits of you and me. And then in the second part of the book, the author spoke about the habits of successful organizations, wherein he spoke about something known as a keystone habit. What is this keystone habit? And here he spoke about Paul O'Neill, the CEO of a Fortune 500 manufacturer company, which is Alcoa. Now, what happened in this company? When Paul took up as the CEO of this company in 1987, this company was facing a lot of manufacturing quality issues. Now, what did Paul do? Paul didn't ask them to have increased the quality like other CEOs or the other leadership did, but Paul actually asked them, we have to reduce the number of accidents happening in the company. Now, why did he do that? It was because whenever an accident was happening, it means that there is some problem. And if there is no accident that is happening, the problem is also not there. If managers have to take care that there is no accident that is occurring in the company, then it means that the production quality is automatically increased. And this is where the importance of a keystone habit comes into picture. Keystone habit is a habit. If you change that one habit, entire productivity, entire cycle, entire lifestyle, all the other habits that you want to change will be changed. For example, exercising, physical exercise. If we start doing physical exercise, we eat better. We become more productive at work. We take lesser stress. This is the example he took in that. Now, how do we identify keystone habits? The author says that we have to do it by a trial and error. Information about that. You can go back to that book and read about it. If you went to the book and you read about that book, please comment in the comment section what did the author mention about identifying keystone habits by a trial and error method. And then he also speaks about something called as willpower in this book. When willpower becomes automatic. What is this? This is where he spoke about the famous marshmallow test. Now, what is this test? This is a test that is conducted for children of the age 4 or 5. What they typically do is they give a marshmallow to a kid. They'll tell that kid, simple, if you want to have this marshmallow right now, have it right now. But if you are going to wait for 15 more minutes, I'll be coming back in 15 minutes and I'll be giving you an additional marshmallow. Sorry for that. I'll be giving you an additional marshmallow. And if I give you that, you can have 2 marshmallows after 15 minutes. Now, what do we mean by that? A delayed gratification, the willpower to resist without eating that one marshmallow so that he or she can get a second marshmallow. Now, this test used to give a result that if a person is able to get 2 marshmallows and wait for 15 minutes, he or she is predicted, not compulsory, he or she is predicted to have good grades, good career, good family life, good willpower throughout his or her life. And this is what marshmallow test is all about. And then he speaks and he also tells that willpower is a muscle, but willpower is a weak muscle because there is a limited willpower available with people. And for that he also mentions about one more study that the author has done, not the author, sorry, one more study that has been done. What is that study? The study is very simple. One of these organizations in UK, they took students of 2 batches. They asked them to skip their meal and they delayed the meal by 2 to 3 hours. And after that, for this batch 1, they gave each person a cup of radishes. And in this batch 2, they gave each person a cup of delicious cakes. And then once they had their food, for both the batches, they gave same set of complex problems to solve. What happened after that? The batch that ate radishes gave up very early. They got fed up and they said that we are not going to solve these problems. And the batch that received these delicious cakes, they managed to solve the problem better than this batch that received radishes. Now, what does that indicate? It indicates that we have a limited supply of willpower with us. And if we are using that for everything, it is not possible. We have to use the willpower, as with those students, either to have a tasteless food or to solve a complex problem, but not both. These students had tasty food, they were able to solve the problem. These set of students, they did not have delicious food, they had radishes, so they were not able to solve the problem. So limited willpower is there, and we have to make sure that we are focusing our willpower on a single habit. Don't try to change multiple habits. This is what it means. Don't try to change multiple habits at the same time. Change a single habit at the single time. And this concept is exactly used by an organization, a company that we all love and flaunt on social media, which is Starbucks. Now what they do for all those employees working in Starbucks, for all those servers that are working in Starbucks, they identify inflection points or cues. Now what are these cues? These are the cues that indicate whether an angry customer is shouting. What are the scenarios that can take place in a Starbucks? If one customer comes and he shouts, one customer comes and he is angry that his spelling has been written wrong on that coffee cup. They take all these scenarios and make sure that the employees during their training, they go through each and every of these scenarios, and then once they are trained with the help of these inflection points, the employees have built the willpower muscle and they are focusing their willpower. Not only that, Starbucks ensures that the shift of the employees is up to the time, because once their willpower is exhausted, there is no going back. So they manage the willpower of the employees, and they also give training in such a way that the inflection points are being taken care of, and then make sure that the work goes well. And that is how we get a beautiful service when we go into Starbucks. And then the author spoke about the power of crisis, how leaders create habits through accident and design. And here the author speaks about Rhode Island hospitals in 2000s. Rhode Island hospitals, for your kind information, they are award-winning hospitals. Now, but what used to happen with them in 2000s is that there was a toxic work culture wherein the doctors are very harsh towards their nurses and attendants. Doctors used to feel that they are the supreme commanders in the hospital, and they were never giving a chance to the nurses. For example, when they are in an operation theater, when they are in an operation theater, when the nurse picks up a checklist, the doctor would say, why should I see the checklist? I don't have to see the checklist. And this kind of work culture was going on. But later on, they introduced the checklists to be taken care of very easily. The checklist should be taken care of stringently, and that was when the number of mishaps in the hospitals were reduced and the hospital became an award-winning hospital. And then the author also speaks about policy handbooks versus informal rules or habits. For example, someone is coming into your organization. If someone is asking, your manager asks you to brief him what happens in the company, will you give that person, he or she, a list of policy books, documents, papers, or you will explain, yes boss, this is what it happens, this is how it works. You will explain informal, unwritten rules, the habits of the organization. And then the author also spoke about, and then the author also spoke about how the target knows what you want to do and how companies actually predict that we are doing something. For this, he took the example of retail industry, wherein when we go to any probably say a shopping mall and do some clothes shopping, when we purchase clothes, what do they do? They give us these membership cards in which they collect our information, a lot of information. What are your shopping habits? They take surveys, and with the help of these surveys, they do some data analysis and they'll identify what is going to happen. Take the example of pregnant women. Pregnant women, or they start receiving emails about baby products. How do they get that? When someone is visiting the hospital, based on the credit card, debit card swipes, they get the information that yes, this lady is going to conceive, which means that this lady needs something. That is how they predict habits. And then one more important concept the author touches upon is about the music industry. Sandwiching of a habit that we don't want in between two habits that we already have. And for this, he takes the example of a song, Hey Ya song. I don't know the song, but yeah. Excuse me. So I don't know about this song, but the author says that this Hey Ya song has been played in radios and radio FMs very frequently and being sandwiched between two popular songs, and that actually this song became popular and it also won the Grammy Award. And this is how the song has been made an award-winning song, not by doing anything. So, if you have any habit that you want to change, keep it between two habits. Simple. Now let's go forward and see the habits of societies. In this he spoke about the Montgomery bus boycott, how movements happen. Now this is a big story about the civil rights crusade in United States. This hero, Mrs. Rosa Parks, the American hero, she boarded into a bus in Montgomery and she was actually sitting in a place, so there were blacks and there were whites in Americans. So when she was about to sit, she was sitting in her own black seat, and when three American seats, white American seats were vacant, someone comes to her and asks her, please vacate this seat. And she gets angry because of that. And she says, I am not going to leave my seat. And since she had membership in many social and cultural organizations in the city, and here is a point where the author speaks about the importance of weak ties than close friends. Just imagine a situation when we have close friends, they ask for some help, we are ready to say no. But when we have a distant acquaintance, he or she comes to us and asks for help, we will do that out of social proof, social anxiety. We want to show to people that yes, we are social beings and we go and help them. Now this concept of weak ties is also being spoken in the book named The Tipping Point by Malcolm Gladwell. I'll also be doing that book bite very soon. So I'll also be doing Think and Grow Rich, about belief, and about the weak ties by Malcolm Gladwell in the book The Tipping Point. So these two books, if you're wanting that, please comment in the chat box again. I know that this video is being a bit lengthier, but yes, this is worthy. And hence, this movement happened. So when actually Rosa Parks refused to give her seat, that led to a big ruckus in the bus. They went to police station and many things happened. And after that, this came in the newspaper. And when this thing came in newspaper, for showing their social proofs, many people came outside. They started doing that. And that was how the civil rights movement started in United States. So the habit of having a social proof, we do some things just because people outside us, people in the society are doing, and that was one of the important things. This is how habits work in society. We do things out of societal norms. That is what, in one line, if I have to say. And then the author also speaks about, in the ending, are we responsible for our habits? For this he speaks about the gambling business. And he compares the MRI of the brains of two types of gamblers, the pathological gamblers and social gamblers. Now, who are pathological gamblers? These are the gamblers who got addicted to gambling. They can't live without gambling. They want to do gambling. They have that habit loop of doing gambling, because when they are doing gambling, a near miss. Pathological gamblers take a near miss as win. If I'm missing one point, I feel that okay, I may get again. If I'm missing one more point, I'll again feel that I may get again. And then my habit loop says that the moment I miss, I'm taking it as win. That is my habit loop. And I crave for the reward to get more money, and I keep on playing gambling. That is what happens with pathological gamblers. Now what happens with social gamblers? Social gamblers are those who do this gambling just for fun. They don't have this. Now what happens once they lose once? For them, not losing more money is the reward. They don't think about getting more money so that I lose now. No, they think in this way that I should not lose any money. So for them, the reward is, for social gamblers, the reward is not losing more money. For pathological gamblers, the reward is losing money so that they can get more money in future. And now the author also questions one thing here. Does pathological gamblers know that they are in this habit loop? No, it is our responsibility to explain them that yes, this is the habit loop. You have to come out of it. They may be sent to some recreational centers wherein they will be treated. So this is the last part wherein the author speaks. So let us quickly summarize. The Power of a Habit by Charles Duhigg is all about three important parts. The habits of individuals, you and me. The habits of successful organizations, how some companies made changes by using the simple habit loop of cue, routine and reward. And then finally, the habits of societies, how people act out of societal pressure or act according to social norms. I hope that you are finding some value with my videos and my content. If you want any other books, please mention in the comments. And also don't forget to subscribe to my channel, because Santosh SpeakUp is all about a one-stop destination for your self-help needs in the form of stories, conversations and book bites. Thank you so much, and signing off.